Confidence. Everyone talks about it. Everyone tries to fake it. Everyone wants it, but very few truly have it. And the truth? The ones who really do don't even try. Because the most powerful trait of truly confident people is not their voice, not their posture, not their charm. It's something far more dangerous. It's nonchalance. The art of not needing to prove, not needing to explain, not needing to show off. The art of knowing you already won before the game even started. And Machiavelli, the man whose name became synonymous with cunning, strategy, and power, understood this secret centuries ago. Think about the people in your life who truly intimidate you. Not the loud ones, not the braggers, not the ones desperate for recognition, but the ones who walk into a room and don't say much. Yet somehow you feel their presence in your bones. That's not luck. That's not an accident. That's psychological dominance. And here's the dark truth. In a world obsessed with proving strength, the ones who radiate it without trying hold all the cards. 1. The illusion of strength. Our society has twisted confidence into a performance. Stand tall, speak louder, make eye contact, flex your achievements. This is what people are taught. But here's the problem. When confidence becomes performance, it turns into insecurity in disguise. Because the moment you try to prove confidence, you've already admitted to yourself that you might not have it. Machiavelli observed this centuries ago. He studied rulers, leaders, and tyrants, and he noticed a strange paradox. The leaders who shouted the loudest about their power often fell the fastest, but the ones who carried an air of effortless control, the quiet rulers, they lasted. Ask yourself, how much of your life is spent proving to others that you're worthy? How much energy is wasted on showing strength instead of simply being strong? That's the trap almost everyone falls into. And that's why true confidence is so rare. 2. Machiavelli's hidden truth. Niccolò Machiavelli in The Prince wrote about the nature of rulers and power. He wasn't interested in ideals or morality. He studied what worked. And one pattern kept surfacing. The strongest leaders didn't chase approval. They didn't scramble for validation. They created an aura of inevitability, as if their dominance was already decided by fate. This is where nonchalance comes in. Nonchalance is not laziness. It's not apathy. It's a calculated projection of ease. It's the ability to signal, I don't need you. I don't need to prove myself. If you follow me, fine. If you don't, I'll still win. That's the psychology of true dominance. And here's the part that unsettles people. Humans are wired to seek approval. From childhood, we crave attention. So when someone doesn't care for our approval, our brain glitches. We lean in harder. We start craving their acknowledgement even more. This is why nonchalance is magnetic. It flips the game. Instead of chasing people, you make people chase you. 3. Why nonchalance works. Let's break it down scientifically. Humans are social creatures, and one of the most powerful forces driving us is status recognition. When you see someone not fighting for approval, your subconscious mind automatically assumes they must already have high status. If they don't care, they must not need me. If they're not desperate, they must have options. This is a status illusion, and it's devastatingly effective. Because when you don't try, people assume you already have what they're desperately trying to get. Think about dating. The person who tries too hard to impress often fails. The one who acts like they couldn't care less? Suddenly, they're the most attractive in the room. Why? Because desire follows scarcity. And nothing seems scarcer than someone who doesn't need you. 4. The trap of trying too hard. Machiavelli warned rulers about the dangers of desperation. A desperate ruler makes reckless decisions. A desperate ruler bends to the will of others. A desperate ruler eventually becomes a puppet. But a ruler who projects calm, indifference, and effortless control becomes untouchable. You see this everywhere today. Leaders who don't argue every criticism, but simply move forward with quiet certainty. CEOs who don't react emotionally to attacks, but let silence do the work. Individuals who never justify their choices, but let the results speak louder. That's Machiavelli's lesson: never explain, never defend, never chase. Because the moment you do, you hand your power away. But here's where it gets dark. Nonchalance is not just a personality trait. It's a weapon, and Machiavelli understood how to sharpen it into something terrifyingly effective. In the next part, we'll explore how this aura of indifference becomes a psychological trap, one that makes others cling to you, fear losing you, and obey without question, all without you lifting a finger. 5. Nonchalance as a weapon. Machiavelli didn't just study power. He studied fear, loyalty, betrayal, and survival. He knew that a ruler's strength wasn't always about soldiers or money. It was about perception. And the most dangerous perception you can project is this: I don't need to fight for your loyalty. You'll fight for mine. That is the essence of nonchalance weaponized. When others realize you are untouched by their approval or disapproval, their natural instinct is to move closer, to chase you, to earn you, to prove themselves worthy of you. It's not kindness that makes people follow. It's not endless effort. It's the sense that you already stand above them, and whether they rise to meet you or not is their burden, not yours. Imagine you're negotiating. One side is desperate to close the deal. They lower their voice, they talk too fast, they throw out too many offers. The other side, calm, silent, nonchalant, who hold the power, always the one who cares less. And this truth is ruthless. The one who can walk away without fear always wins. 6. The psychological trap. Why does nonchalance enslave people? Let's break it down. Human need for validation. We crave acknowledgement. If someone denies it, we crave it more. The scarcity principle, the less available something is, the more valuable it becomes. The chase instinct. When someone doesn't try to impress us, we unconsciously start trying to impress them. This is the trap of aura. By appearing indifferent, you activate deep primal fears. Why don't they need me? Am I not enough? What makes them so secure? And so, people start bending themselves to fit your approval without you ever asking. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. He observed that silence from a ruler often commanded more obedience than speeches ever could. Think of the last time someone ignored you, didn't answer your message, didn't acknowledge your presence. Didn't it burn? Didn't it make you want their attention even more? That's the dark psychology of nonchalance. Indifference is addictive. It keeps people hooked, craving what they can't get. 7. Historical lessons from Machiavelli. Machiavelli wrote The Prince not as a dream, but as a survival manual for rulers surrounded by betrayal. He noted how the great rulers of Italy and beyond survived not just by force, but by the illusion of control. A prince who panicked, who begged, who sought to prove himself, was seen as weak. But a prince who acted as if power was already his, who didn't over-explain or over-defend, became untouchable. It wasn't arrogance. It was psychological warfare. Now ask yourself, in your own life, how many times have you handed away your power by over-explaining, by proving your worth, by defending yourself when silence would have said more? That's the Machiavellian lesson. The moment you try to convince, you confess weakness. But the moment you act as if you need nothing, the world bends to fill the gap. 8. The silent aura effect. Nonchalance creates what I call the silent aura effect. It's when your absence speaks louder than your presence. When you don't respond, people overthink your silence. When you don't rush to explain, people fill the gaps with their own imagination. When you don't show need, people assume you already have abundance. This aura is terrifyingly powerful. It keeps people guessing. It forces them to lean in. It creates a vacuum of certainty that others desperately try to fill. And the darker truth? Most people would rather submit to someone who radiates certainty than be free with someone who radiates insecurity. Think about this. Would you follow the leader who shouts, "Please believe in me," or the leader who stands silent, calm, unshaken, as if belief is already a given? Your brain doesn't choose the louder one. It chooses the one who doesn't need you. That's the code. That's the trap. That's the aura. 9. How people react to true confidence. Here's the unsettling truth. When faced with true, nonchalant confidence, people often go through stages. Confusion. Why aren't they reacting? Curiosity. What makes them so calm? Insecurity. Do they see me as unworthy? Pursuit. I need to prove myself to them. Submission. They must be above me. I'll follow. Machiavelli saw this happen again and again in politics, war, and love. The ruler who didn't chase loyalty always inspired it. The one who didn't demand respect always received it. Because confidence that doesn't ask for recognition becomes irresistible. But here's the dark twist Machiavelli knew well. Nonchalance can build an empire, but it can also destroy you if you misunderstand it. Because while indifference attracts power, it also breeds enemies. And in the shadows of history, many rulers learned too late that the line between dominance and downfall is only one careless silence away. The most powerful trait of truly confident Machiavelli. We've already explored how nonchalance becomes a weapon and the psychological trap it creates. Now, in part 3, we'll turn to the dangerous side of this trait, why it can backfire, how Machiavelli warned against misusing it, and then we'll shift toward practical strategies for cultivating true nonchalance. 10. The danger side of nonchalance. Confidence, when real, commands respect. Nonchalance, when pure, commands obsession. But when faked, exaggerated, or misunderstood, nonchalance becomes arrogance. And arrogance is the beginning of ruin. Machiavelli knew this. He warned rulers against the illusion of invincibility. A prince who appeared untouchable but ignored real threats was destined to fall. True nonchalance is not pretending nothing matters. It's understanding exactly what matters and refusing to be shaken by the noise. Ask yourself this. How many people have you met who confuse laziness with confidence? Who say, I don't care, but deep down it's because they're afraid of trying. That's not nonchalance. That's weakness disguised as strength. The world sees through it. People sense it. And instead of inspiring respect, it creates contempt. 11. When nonchalance turns toxic. 3 traps destroy those who misuse this trait. The arrogance trap. When you dismiss everyone and everything, believing yourself untouchable. This leads to isolation, enemies, and eventual collapse. The complacency trap. When your calm becomes carelessness. Opportunities slip away. Threats grow unnoticed. The empire you built crumbles while you sit in silence. The mask trap. When you fake indifference but secretly crave approval. People sense the act, and instead of chasing you, they abandon you. Machiavelli studied fallen rulers who became drunk on their aura. They forgot that nonchalance is a strategy, not an excuse to ignore reality. And here's the question for you. Are you calm because you're secure? Or are you calm because you're afraid to act? One creates respect. The other creates pity. 12. The balance of fire and ice. True confidence is not ice-cold detachment. It's fire under control. Machiavelli described the ideal ruler as one who appeared unshaken, yet was calculating beneath the surface. To the outside world, calm. Inside, always measuring, always preparing, always ready. That's the paradox of true nonchalance. You don't show effort, but you prepare relentlessly. You don't show need, but you know exactly what you want. You don't react emotionally, but you use emotion as a tool. It's not that nothing moves you. It's that nothing controls you. Think about the most terrifying predator in nature. It doesn't roar constantly. It doesn't thrash around. It waits, silent, calm, still, and then it strikes with precision. That's confidence. That's dominance. That's the balance Machiavelli admired. 13. How to build nonchalance, practical steps. So, how do you cultivate this trait in your own life? How do you embody the aura of someone who radiates power without effort? Machiavelli would argue it starts with perception, how others see you, but it's built on internal mastery first. Here are the steps. Step 1. Control your reactions. Don't give instant responses to provocation. Don't show shock, anger, or desperation. Train yourself to pause, to breathe, to let silence speak. Step 2. Kill the need for approval. Stop chasing likes, validation, recognition. Understand. People's opinions shift like sand. Base your self-worth on your standards, not theirs. Step 3. Practice strategic silence. Don't explain unless necessary. Don't argue with every critic. Silence creates mystery, and mystery creates power. Step 4. Master scarcity. Show up less, but with more impact. Don't flood people with access. Make your time, your presence, your words rare. Step 5. Detach from outcomes. If you can walk away from deals, relationships, or conflicts without fear, you'll always hold the advantage. Dependence is weakness. Detachment is strength. Imagine two versions of yourself walking into a room. One is eager, restless, desperate to be noticed. The other is calm, slow, unshaken, as if the world already belongs to them. Which one would people follow? Which one would people fear? Which one would you rather be? 14. The emotional core of nonchalance. Beneath all the strategy, here's the real truth. Nonchalance is born from self-sufficiency. When you truly believe you can survive without anyone's approval, when you've made peace with rejection, when you face your own darkness, then you become untouchable. Because what can they take from you? Nothing you haven't already let go of. This is why Machiavelli's teachings weren't just political. They were psychological survival codes. He understood that power wasn't about armies or wealth. It was about being unshaken when everyone else trembles. But here's the final twist. If nonchalance is the most powerful trait of the confident, then how do you use it without turning into a tyrant? How do you wield this aura without losing your humanity? Because Machiavelli knew the same weapon that builds empires can also destroy them. And in the final part, we'll unlock the ultimate lesson of the truly confident, the balance between dominance and wisdom. 15. The shadow of nonchalance. We've seen how nonchalance radiates power, commands attention, and bends people without effort. But every great trait carries a shadow. Machiavelli warned rulers, confidence without caution is suicide. Nonchalance without wisdom is chaos. Because here's the paradox. Too little nonchalance, and you look desperate. Too much, and you look inhuman. The truly confident walk a razor's edge. They radiate calm, but they're not cold. They inspire fear, but also fascination. Think of the leaders who lost everything. The kings who ignored warnings. The emperors who believed their aura made them untouchable, until daggers found their back. Nonchalance blinded them. So the question is, how do you carry the aura without becoming a prisoner of it? 16. The Machiavellian balance. Machiavelli's brilliance was not in glorifying cruelty or detachment, but in teaching balance. He wrote, "It is better be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." But what he truly meant was this. Fear keeps people in line, but respect keeps them loyal. The aura of nonchalance must be paired with judgment. Know when to stay silent and when to speak. Know when to appear unshaken and when to show humanity. Know when to walk away and when to strike. True dominance isn't in never caring. It's in knowing precisely what to care about and letting the world believe you don't. So ask yourself right now, are you feared or are you respected? Do people follow you because they want to or because they have to? Only one of those will last. 17. Nonchalance as a psychological weapon. When wielded correctly, nonchalance bends human behavior like gravity. Why? Because people are addicted to reaction. They thrive on drama, conflict, attention. When you deny them that, when you refuse to be shaken, they become obsessed with breaking through your calm. It's why silence wins arguments. It's why the one who cares less in negotiation always has the upper hand. It's why the person who doesn't chase becomes the one everyone runs toward. Machiavelli knew that the greatest power was invisible. It wasn't armies or gold. It was the invisible force that made people act against themselves just to win your approval. Think about the last time someone ignored you. Didn't it drive you insane? Didn't it make you try harder? Now flip that. Imagine others feeling that way about you. That's the psychological weapon Machiavelli understood. 18. The final transformation. If you followed this far, here's the truth. Nonchalance isn't something you fake. It isn't a mask. It's the byproduct of inner strength. To embody it, you must face rejection until it no longer terrifies you. Walk alone until loneliness becomes power, not weakness. Strip away the desperate need for validation. Only then can you enter a room, say nothing, and still control it. Because people don't follow noise. They follow presence. 19. Machiavelli's ultimate lesson. So what would Machiavelli tell you today? He'd say this: the world bows to the one who cannot be moved, but the world destroys the one who forgets when to move. Confidence is not about never bending. It's about knowing exactly when to bend and when to break others. True nonchalance is not emptiness. It's power disguised as calm. It's fire hidden beneath ice. And when mastered, it makes you untouchable. Picture yourself years from now. You walk into any room, and without a word, people shift. They glance. They whisper. They lean in. Not because you demanded it. Not because you begged for it. But because you radiate something they cannot resist. That is the aura of the truly confident. That is the Machiavellian gift. 20 closing words. So remember this. The most powerful trait of the truly confident is not loud. It is not restless. It does not chase. It simply is. And in a world desperate for attention, the one who needs nothing controls everything. If you felt the weight of this truth, if you see how Machiavelli's wisdom still cuts into modern life, then stay with me, because this is just the beginning. Here, on Dark Code Psychology, we don't just study the mind, we weaponize it. We don't just admire confidence, we dissect it so you can live it. So subscribe and step deeper into the dark code, because in a world built on noise, you're about to master silence, and silence is power.